Good morning and welcome, everybody. So lovely to have you here. Today we're going to be talking about intuitive eating. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite topics. For me, it's like if you can get this right, this one thing right, then you can actually get everything right in your life. It is the core, the very essence of the caring, the self-care we talk about all the time. And I'm going to be sharing on this live broadcast today how I started the concept of intuitive eating for myself, how it's evolved over the years, and now, good morning, Jackie, and now how it has made a huge difference to everything that I do and what my values, I guess, is what it is. It's where now, if you totally understand this, it's like if you get this in your heart and it becomes the soul and spirit of you. And I know that kind of might sound a bit cliche, but it's true. It's good morning, Angela. The thing about intuitive eating is that it goes to the very core of who we are. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share what it is. Then I'm going to share with you my story, how this all came about. And then I'll share a few stats about the concerns about food and weight and all those things. And at the end, I have a very special gift for you that I will share. So hang on to the very end because we've got a special gift for you. So first of all, just let me know, Angela and Jackie, can you just let me know if you can hear me? And if anybody else can let me know if they can hear me this morning. Oh, beautiful. Good morning, Lucy. Lovely to see you here. Terrific. Oh, no, tech glitch. Oh, tech glitch. I can't hear you. Angela, can you hear me? Can you let me know? Yes, you can hear me. Okay, cool. Phew, it's always a little bit of heart racing whenever I start one of these. You know, I always think that these things are designed for 15-year-old kids with attitude. Anyhow, morning. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so wherever you are, I hope it's lovely where you are. Again, as I mentioned on the Facebook Live, we are in the midst of a heat wave here in Queensland, and it's the 1 month of the year where it's not so lovely to live here, but we can put up with it because the sun is still shining, and thank goodness for swimming pools and air conditioning. All righty, terrific. Thank you. Okay, well, let's get on with this. Let's get started because it's Saturday morning. So let me explain a little bit what intuitive eating is. And it simply is the ability to listen to the wisdom of your body in making decisions about what is right for you. Now, you know, I come from the era of, I began my career in the fitness industry way back in 1980, late 70s, early 80s. And, you know, in that time, in all those decades, I have come across so many different ways of eating. And hi, Robin. All I can see is you in the little circle going around. I can't hear anything. Hopefully I can watch conversation. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, you know, we're all struggling with internet, I think, at the moment too. Yep, no problem. All right, well, I'll look forward to the replay with you. All right, so so every decade there's something new that comes along. And, you know, it's interesting. You know, I'm wise enough to know what happened in those decades. 1970s was all about the Pritikin diet, which was really, really low fat. And I can remember my parents being on that diet. My dad had high cholesterol, and so that was the diet that was purported as being the new best thing. Terribly difficult to stick to. I mean, I remember my poor mother, thinking, what the heck am I going to cook? You know, every little bit of fat was cut off, everything. And then in the 80s, it was all about, oops, we've made it a mistake. It's actually, you actually need fat. So it became the Atkins diet. And I don't know if you remember that. It was high protein, high fat. You ended up with very bad breath. That's about it. And then in the 80s, it swung all the way back to low fat. Now, the sort of late part of the 80s, early 90s. And that's when I was teaching fitness. And we would be living on low-fat cottage cheese and brown rice crackers and taking the fat off meat. And, it was a really difficult way to live. And then towards the end of the 90s into the 2000s, then they started talking about sugar, and that kind of came out of the low-fat era, because in order for skim milk and skim yogurts and all those things to taste good, they put sugar in it. So we became more addicted to sugar. And so it became sugar. And then, of course, now, it's been paleo and it's been ketosis. And it's any wonder everybody is so confused about what food is right for them. And there's simply one rule, I think, to follow, and that is there is a no one-size-fits-all model. It's what is right for you. The challenge is that all the information we have been given over those years plays with our heads, that we kind of get this cellular thing about good food, bad food, what's right, what's wrong. I remember having a conversation with somebody who was telling me, I've heard you shouldn't have 2 bananas a day. Where have we gone wrong in this when we begin to question what types of fruits and vegetables we should be eating and what's good fruit and what's bad fruit? And it's, really it's that kind of whole plant-based diet. But I want to share a little bit about my story now and how I went from obsession about food and weight to now embracing intuitive eating. And then at the end of this, as I said, we've got a special little gift for you. Let's go to my story first. So I was extremely obsessed with weight and exercise for most of my life. In fact, when I first started working out in the fitness industry, I was an aerobic instructor in the days when it was Jane Fonda and the headbands and belts, and we had so much fun. But oh, beautiful Lucy, great, glad you're here. So those were the days when the look that you had was so important. And I remember during those times, I had this magic number, 47 kilos. And if I was 47 kilos, what the heck, 47 kilos, that was my ideal weight. I was a good person if I was 47 kilos. If I wasn't that, then I would do all sorts of terrible things. I'd work out at least 4 times a day. I was teaching 4 aerobic classes a day, plus I'd run, and I was doing weights. And I was using, remember Ford pills, those laxatives? I'd use those a lot. So if we went out for dinner, that's what I'd use. I was terrified of putting weight. And, working out like that and having this kind of crazy food obsession, it was just nuts. I'm very, very particular about what I put in my mouth. And of course, when I met my husband, Jerry, who is a naturally thin person and always been, in fact, in our, 38 years together, I don't think his weight's changed more than, 1 or 2 kilos over that time. At that time, he just ate whatever he wanted. So if we went out for dinner, we lived in Edmonton in Canada at the time, and his favorite meal at the time was prime rib of beef with baked potatoes and all the trimmings, which is really quite odd because we're not both vegetarians and don't eat dairy or sugar. But back in those days, we'd go out for dinner and have prime rib. And in Canada, what they used to do is they'd have bring out your potatoes, and then the waiter would come out with these little things with sour cream and chives and bacon bits and butter. And they come over, and then you would put the butter on, and then the sour cream, and then the bacon bits and the chives. Lots of chemicals, but we won't talk about that. And whereas I would say, oh, no, I'll have a piece of grilled fish with, just a baked potato dry on the side. And one day, Jerry, who'd been watching me, said, why don't you put sour cream on your potato? And I said, you want any idea how fattening sour cream is? Do you ever get so self-righteous? We talk about food and people don't have to worry about their weight. And he dipped into the sour cream and had a teaspoon of it. And he looked at me and he said, how could a teaspoon of sour cream put on a pound of weight? I don't understand that. And of course, I got all huffy, as you do, and got up from the table and walked away. And I thought, you know what? Actually, that's right. That doesn't make any sense at all. And I really began to think, what's going on? What's happened? It was like I honestly believed. And my mother used to have this saying, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. Honestly believe that. I honestly realized I believed that. And I knew something was really wrong at that stage. I didn't tell anybody. But I thought, this is crazy. Now, right about that time, we started getting into lots of spiritual stuff, visualization, meditation, affirmations. And I thought, wonder if I could create an affirmation that said, I now allow myself to eat anything I want. And what do I really want? I wanted to get, it was at that moment, it kind of went a switch in my mind. What happened? How come he can do that and I can't? Now, there's another side story to this, because I used to watch the way that he would eat. And, you know, like if Jerry wanted a cup of coffee and a cookie, he would put on the kettle, go to the fridge or the pantry, get the cookie, get a plate, put 2 cookies on a plate, wait for the kettle to boil, make a cup of coffee, go sit down, open the paper, have a sip of coffee and a bite of cookie, whereas I would have eaten half the packet of cookies just waiting for the kettle to boil. So I knew there was something really different for me going on. So I created this affirmation. I now allow myself to eat anything I want. What does my body really feel like? What do I really want to eat? Now, this was like letting a caged tiger free, because what happened was I began to eat anything in sight, anything. But I trusted. Yeah, I felt like if we could visualize this, if I could do the affirmations, then I could do this. And it was scary. You know, I started to eat all sorts of things, but I'd use the affirmation. I put it in my car. I put it in my diary. I put it on the bathroom mirror. Put it in the shower. I could see it. I choose to eat anything I want. What does my body really want? So for the first period of time, first couple of months, I went a bit berserk and ate anything and everything, and I could actually feel myself getting bigger. And but I knew something had changed. There was a switch that went on in my head. There was just this switch. And then this one day, it was about 6 months later, and you know, I'm going to share with you in a moment, what took me 6 months could actually take you 6 weeks to do, but I'm going to share that later. But after about 6 months, I remember we went out for coffee, and I would always have carrot cake. It's all about being deprived. Yes, Louise, exactly. Oh, good point. We're going to talk about that too, about being deprived. Absolutely. That's how I felt, you know, exactly that. It was like, you know, if I can't have what I eat, how come everybody else can have it? No, I can't. All that stuff going on back in mind. But one day I went out for coffee, and we'd always go out for coffee on a Saturday morning, and we ordered carrot cake back in the days when I ate carrot cake. When I think of that cream cheese and I've made carrot cake, so I know how much sugar is in that dressing, you know, the icing on the top. Anyway, beside the point. So I'm sitting down and we're having coffee. Now, normally I would never leave anything on my plate. I mean, nothing. You know, once food was down, we grew up in a family where you ate fast, because if you didn't finish it, there was somebody else, a big family, would eat what you'd left on your plate. So you ate quickly in my family. And I ate, and then I just stopped. I thought, you know what, I don't want any more. And I remember this time looking, I don't remember quite the next part of the conversation, but what I do remember was looking at this half-eaten piece of carrot cake sitting on that plate thinking, I actually don't want any more. And it was such a revelation for me. I thought, I actually don't want this. And I was amazed. So then I kind of kept going. And now, to me, it's the cornerstone, because once I'd solved that issue for me about food and weight, because eventually my body just settled. And other than 3 pregnancies and a couple of things, my body weight really hasn't changed that much in, what is it now, well over 30 years. And it really comes down to this whole concept of the fact of eating to honor my body and listening to my body. Listening. What is it I truly want? Now, there's 2 rules that is part of all this. One is, in the over 3 decades, aging myself here, over 3 decades I've been involved in the health and fitness industry and personal development and tapping and everything else I've done. In all that time, with all these new concepts of the ways of eating, you know, paleo, ketosis, Atkins, Pritikin, low fat, low sugar, there's only been really 2 rules that have applied. One is eat mostly plant-based, good fruits and vegetables. Eat mostly good free-range proteins of wild-caught fish, legumes, nuts, and water. That's it. nothing, that's it. And, a lot of stuff now coming about the Mediterranean diet, which is, good quality fats like avocados and olive oils. And that's been the same way for as long as we can remember. And I talk about that a lot in the 2 and 20 principle. And the second aspect of the eating intuitively is to eat for a physiological reason, not for an emotional reason. And as you just mentioned, Louise, being deprived, that feeling about being deprived, that's an emotional reaction to food. And that is instilled in something that went on in the past. So what did take me 6 months to do, you can actually do in 6 weeks. You can actually change it. Now, this is not, I want to be very specific about it. This is not about weight, although that's part of it. This is about health. This is about energy, vitality, longevity, and the soul of you. Do you know, if we're constantly living all the time with this thing about food and weight, we cannot show up. We just can't. Because, to me, success isn't about money and relationships separate from the who we are. It's about all of us. If you don't have your health, if you're carrying extra weight and you feel uncomfortable with it, if your joints hurt, if when you move it feels uncomfortable, and it's something that I say all the time, if you're carrying an extra 10 kilos or 5 kilos, I challenge you to go to the supermarket, buy a 5 kilo or a 10 kilo pack of potatoes, strap it on your back with a backpack and walk around with it all day and just see how tired you are. And that's what it's all about. Because when you are carrying that extra weight, which impacts on your energy, okay, it's not about how you look, although that's a bonus, I guess, and fitting into your clothes that you really love. But it's the energy level. You're too tired. It's when you get that all together, when you decide, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I want my body to be the best it can be. It's going to make all the difference in the world. I had 2 radio interviews yesterday. I'm now on 24 radio stations around Australia, and two interviews were yesterday, and we were talking about we're doing some research on weight. And, in the US in 2016, $66 billion was spent on weight loss and health and fitness products. In Australia, $600 million in the 2016 to 2017, which they think will go up 0.0% this year, 0.2% this year. But the stats still sit at 1 in 3 people can be considered overweight and or obese, 1 in 6 children. So clearly, it's not getting through. The message isn't getting through, because you can actually Google anything you want about losing weight and it's there. You have it all at your fingertips. But the art of intuitive eating is to honor the food you put in your body, knowing that you are doing the best possible thing you can for your body by giving it the food it needs in order to give you abundance of health and energy. And the second thing is to eat for a physiological reason, not an emotional one. And when you get to the bottom of the emotional reason, that's when it all changes. Because when you begin to make the choices of listening to that wisdom of your body, it's all about the wisdom of your body. And the beautiful thing about us as we get older is we get more wise. That's the key. So we actually have access to that wisdom that the majority of people don't have because we've lived life. So the thing about intuitive eating is to make the decision that it's going to be about me now. What is it that I truly want? Now, I'm just going to pop a link in the thing here somewhere. If you wanted to have a 30-minute discovery session with me, just let me know, and you can book in. I've got some stuff on my calendar. There's a link there. But if some of this is resonating with you and think, gee, I want to find a little bit more about that, that's where you go. All right. I want to get back again to this intuitive eating, and I want to talk a little bit about how you listen to your body, how you do this. So it's about being very aware of how food impacts, and from that making the choices. So let's talk about for me, and I'm going to share my story. For you, it may be different. For you, it may be totally out of the thing. It doesn't bother you, but I'm going to share for me what the 3 big things are me. All right. So when you decide that you're going to create choose foods from physiological rather than emotional, also oftentimes we reach for foods to fill the emotional barrier, and we don't even know it. Okay. Let's talk about for me. So there were 3 types of foods that I discovered over a period of time that were having a huge impact on me. The first one was gluten. Now, I had no idea. I love, let me tell you, a beautiful artisan bake sourdough bread that's been, created from the yeast, grown, developed properly. Love it. And of course, we always used to have bread in our house. Saturdays we'd always have, bread rolls with smoked salmon, ham, and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly, Janet. If we all know, if you tell you not to do something, they sometimes you should do it. Yes, that's exactly right. I'm pretty sure I was one of those kids. Yeah, that's exactly right. I love that. That's fantastic. All right, so here we go. So yeah, for gluten. So for me, my daughter was diagnosed with leaky gut. She had terrible pains in her stomach, all that stuff. This is 10 years ago, I guess now. And the naturopath said, look, you're going to have to stop eating gluten. Now, this was before there was the varieties of gluten free. So I'm just making sure I'm catching all these comments here. This was before there was lots of varieties of gluten. To go off gluten meant you didn't eat it at all. No bread, no pasta, nothing. She was just, she was really upset. Mum, what am I going to eat? So in order to support her, we all decided to not have bread, pasta in the house. So we would, create recipes for it. I couldn't believe after we had been going gluten-free for a period of time, maybe a week or so, how much better I felt. Like, bloating, I could think more clearly. And I just thought that was all part of menopause. I didn't realize that was gluten. And it was like, wow, how long has this been going on? I just put up with bloating. I never thought anything more about it. Sometimes my tummy was a bit bigger than other times. It didn't occur to me that I could probably have a gluten intolerance. Anyway, so there's one, gluten. Then I had been diagnosed with glandular fever a little while ago, and in order to get over the glandular fever, this is a couple of years ago now, I had to go on a sugar-free diet, and gee, that was hard. But boy, I began to realize how addicted to sugar I had become. And, interesting now, the World Health Organization talks about, we should be having no more than about 25, 26 grams of sugar, and we eat about 3 times that amount of money. So taking sugar out of the diet, but when you put it back in, I notice how jittery I get if I have too much sugar. So that was the second one. The third one was the hardest one. And there was, I shared it on a Facebook Live just recently. I do a lot of video, as you know, and sometimes I'd be looking at my videos and I go, what's wrong with me? I look fat in that video. My face is puffy, my eyes are small, I look tired and old. I didn't think anything about it. I thought, some days maybe I'm just tired on that day. Anyway, one that night, Jerry and I were sitting down, we had cheese and crackers for dinner, before, it's normal. And the next day I was filming and I went, oh my God, there it is. Could it be dairy? And I went, no, I love cheese, let me tell you. I could be known to sit down to eat an entire wheel of King Island double brie cheese in a sitting. So I love cheese. So to not eat that was a big deal. But you know what? When I tapped on that, losing the dairy, I didn't want that. Now, the other thing I noticed when I stopped eating dairy is I had, again, more energy. I wasn't feeling gluggy. And I thought, if that's doing that to my face and making my face swell up, what's that doing to the rest of my body? So those were the 3 things for me: gluten, sugar, and dairy. Now, I'm not crazy about, I'm not nuts about it. If we go out somewhere, Saturdays, we often go for breakfast, and I'll have eggs Benedict, and I'll just throw all caution to the wind and have the beautiful hollandaise sauce place we go. The guy makes his own hollandaise sauce to die for, and it serves it on sourdough bread. So I just know, for the next 24 hours I'm going to come and feel gluggy, but it's a choice always, because what I'm doing is making sure that I honor my body. So my body is telling me when I put foods into my body that do that, it reacts. And to me, it's all about longevity now. Health, energy, vitality, longevity. To me, they are the core. If I don't have my health, if I am not 100% on task, how can I possibly be present to enjoy my life? My relationships with my husband and my kids and my friends are really important to me. But if I'm not caring for myself, how can I be present? If I'm cranky, if I'm tired, if I'm not feeling good, how can I be present? You respond. So to me, that's what intuitive eating is. It's about honoring you. It's about not becoming one of those statistics. And the beautiful thing about intuitive eating is when you get to the emotional reasons, that it actually opens up success in other areas. It's like the last frontier, really. It's like the last frontier. So as I mentioned, I am doing some strategy sessions this week. I've opened up my diary. If you want to have a chat, if you want to have a 30-minute discovery session with me, just click on that link that I posted. I might just post it again. And if you want to just, have a chat, see if and how I can help you, just pop in, book in for a discovery session. Just let's have a chat and see if I can help you. All right, let's just go to, has anybody if you've got any questions, you've got any comments, please let me know. Is any of this resonating? I love Janet's. We all know that if you tell children to do something or not to eat something, they will usually do as their act of independence and defiance. Yep, pretty sure I was one of those kids too. I came from a big family, and for us, food was really, it was pretty basic. We just ate and ran. Literally, we just ate and ran all the time. So I never really kind of learned to enjoy food, really enjoy it until I met Jerry and watched how he ate. And it was then that I became kind of more focused on the foods. And now, of course, I'm very, very conscious of food. And that's not to say that I'm crazy about it. I mean, we're mostly vegetarians, but we do eat good wild caught fish. We eat mostly organic when we can. Sometimes we can't, but that's okay. We make sure we eat a lot of good quality fats, so avocados, coconut oil, all that type of stuff. So, there's some kind of things that we make sure we do. But, as I say in the 2 and 20 principle, I also have treat meals like lemon meringue pie, still my favorite. Make sure I have one of those a week. A place we go that does the best. You'll often see pictures of it on my Instagram. But it's not about denial. It's about choice. And, I say to my clients all the time, it's never about not doing it. It's about what you choose. And that's the key with this whole thing. It's about what you choose. And when you remove the emotional connection to that, and I want to just say this one more time. When you remove the emotional connection to food, it is the last bastion for many of us. It's the last hurdle. And can I tell you, when you feel your body is its most energetic, it's most vital, it's most the best it can possibly be. And I'm not talking about weight here. Don't get me. It's not about weight. It's about the energy to do the things you want to do. It's like it frees you up to be all you can possibly be. Because if you've got this script running in the back of your head all the time about weight and food or no energy, I'm tired, how can you possibly be all you are? And it's just when we've had these whole kind of things about diet, every time I hear a new one, I want to just scream. It's just enough. Stop it. We have to get to, if we're going to solve this issue about weight, we've got to look at the reasons why people do things. And when we can get to that, that's what's going to make all the difference. And it truly does. Imagine for a moment if you honestly didn't have no concerns about this. What if you honestly, every time you ate, you actually ate that food knowing that it was the best quality food that you, and it was going to, impact and empower you, and you were eating really to honor that body. We've got one. I always think that's quite funny. When I see people putting junk into their bodies, I think, you've got one body. That's it. You don't get another one in this lifetime anyway. You don't get another one. So it's about honoring that and having the energy and vitality to be all you can be to achieve the success that you want in your life. Because if you've got that running in the back of your mind all the time, it's simply going to take away from you. It's going to take away from the true essence of you. So if you want to have a strategy session with me to chat about this, let me see if I can help you. Click on the link on that 30-minute discovery session and book it in. I think I've got about 5 or 6 sessions available this week to do all that. So that's about the gist of it. Oh, that's right. I have a special gift for you. Oh, I know. I wanted to talk about the secret sauce. Oh, no, I forgot. So here's the things. In order to get into intuitive eating, it is changing your mindset, obviously, about that. It's about visualizing what it is that you truly want. Back in the day before EFT and before I really, really understood meditation, understood visualization, it was the era of affirmations, Louise Hayes and all that. And it was just the words. And that's what took me 6 months, why it took me 6 months, and why my body went up and down. Now we've got the tools. We've got the tools. We've got EFT, we've got visualization, we've got meditation, we've got, the 2 and 20 principle that can pull this all together for you. We've got the tools now to make it happen much faster. And also there's a number of essential oils that can help. That if you want to know a little bit more about how they can help, just pop me a message and I can share with you some of the really terrific essential oils that will help. Grapefruit and a metabolic blend and a couple of others that can help you on your journey, keep you focused. But so what foods impact on you the most, and really get in tune with it. And if you think, I know all this, I know all this, why is it not happening to me? Then, book in for that 30-minute discovery session. Let's see, because sometimes I can hear things that you're not hearing yourself. And we can have a chat about if working with me is something that that sits right with you. All right, we have a special gift, and thank you for staying on. Where are we at now? 7:35 here in Queensland. So thank you so much for everybody being on. Can you just click on a like or a heart for me? Just let me know if you're still here, so I know you're still on. And I'll let you know about that special gift. We have a guide that I will give you for it's a tell me the story with some. It's got a tapping script in it, and also how this all unfolded. I still struggle with a soft drink. Sandy. All right. Okay. Yes. Still here. Yay. Jackie's still here. Yay. Thank you. Yeah, Sandy, I would, what I'd be looking, thank you, Louise. I would look at, Sandy, a couple of things. I would go back a few hours before and see what's happening. Your blood sugar level may be dropping. So that's something that I would look at for that. So yeah, that soft drink is just going to push your blood sugar level up. So you're looking for something at that time. And sometimes that's the thing, we're looking for that, and you've got kids, so you're looking for that piece of energy at that time of night. So, all right, so the guide. So I'm hoping it's going to pop in this thing at the moment. If not, let me just see if I can get it. Why put diesel in a petrol engine? How beautiful is that, Tracy? Absolutely. Do you know, that's the other thing. That's really interesting, isn't it? Because that's something, people spend more time concerned about the petrol or the oil they put in their cars and the fuel they put in their bodies. And I have heard of women saying to me, what ingredients are in those creams or whatever? But we're not concerned about the food that we put in. Yeah. Thank you, Anne. Great. Thank you. Yeah. So, you know, just be mindful of what is it I'm putting into my body. I'm just going to try now. I hope this works. Oh, yes, it's working. Hopefully, you can still see me. Can't see you. All right, just a sec. I'm going to get this PDF. I'm going to get the link to it. And I am going to pop that in the link below. So if you want to grab a hold, thank you so much for staying on right till the very end. Here's the free guide for you. Here we go. I'm going to put it right there. Comment. There's a free guide for you. And then again, thank you for being on today. If anybody has any more questions, comments, I know I've got a bit of a lag, so I might be missing some of your comments on this. So there's a little bit of a lag in our in our internet. So that's all there. If you would like to have a session with me, just register. The links are below, and I look forward to sharing this journey. Oh, good. Well done, Deb. That's fantastic. You're eating differently. That's really cool. Yeah, keep an eye on that. You know, just look at, because again, when you start to release that emotional connection, you'll begin to free you up. Thank you, Jackie. It's been lovely to have you here. Thank you, everybody. Just let me know if I can help you. If you want to book in for that session, let me know. Click on the link. There's only a few, I think it's 5 this week. That's it. And I know a lot of people are hopping on after this. Couldn't be here this morning. Sent me messages. Thank you very much. And I look forward to helping and supporting you on your journey. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. Yeah. Yes. It's the cornerstone. The cornerstone. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Angela. Great to see you too. And thank you for being here. And we shall talk soon. Okay. Bye for now.